Okay guys, so a lot of you asked me for some suggestions on a very inexpensive Cinewhoop, and as you saw on my channel, I've done reviews on a lot of pre-built Cinewhoops like the Green Hornet, the Bumblebee, Veyron, I think there's one from Flywoo, they call the Chasers 138, so there's a ton of them out there that are pre-built, and they all start around the $180 and up mark. And so a lot of you guys asked me for something that could be less expensive, and this is a solution that I've come up with. I'm not exactly sure how it's going to turn out, but we'll see. So what I'm doing here is I got the parts from the Tyro 79. These are the motors here. So this obviously costs $79, about $80 for the parts and the frame. And we're going to be using the Cloud Reptile Cloud Cinewhoop frame as the base for the Cinewhoop. And the nice thing about this frame, it comes with these injection molded ducts. Pretty solid. I mean, so it's got some give, and you could possibly even put the foam around here on the outside. I've seen some people do that. Probably buy the foam from like iFlight if you want the softer bumpers. But this is not TPU printed. It's not 3D printed. It comes with these nice inset nuts to hold the ducts on, and then you have here on the frame let's see, 3 screw holes to hold the ducts on to the frame, like so. So it should be pretty secure. You do have a little gap here for your motor wires, and it feels like a pretty good plastic. So the reason I chose this frame is it's pretty good quality. It comes with these nice ducts, and it's about $30. I think there's a couple other ones out there, like the donut, for example. You might be able to save like $5, like go for like $25. That one seemed a little bit less quality, and I wasn't sure about the ducts. This one here seemed pretty good, and it also comes in a red color if you want that instead. And this is the HD version, so this will work with DJI, but I'm going to actually set this up as analog. But there's also an analog version. I think they're about the same price, maybe like a $1 difference. But the thing about this frame, it's going to give you your standard 3-inch Cinewhoop. The carbon on here is pretty nice, well cut. The frame comes pre-built like this in the box, so there's nothing to actually build other than putting the ducts on your parts, so it's pretty nice. These are boomerang arms here, and it looks like the carbon isn't cut properly, but this is what's called isotropic or something like that carbon. It's where the layers are crisscrossed inside, so the surface layer that you're seeing isn't really that important because it's very stiff anyway, and it's not like you're going to be doing racing with this one. This is for slow flying. For $30, this is a pretty good value. So basically, for $80 for the electronics and $30 for the frame, about $110 here from Banggood, and depending on coupons and all that stuff, you could get it for even a little bit less. Check the description; there might be some coupon codes, and this is probably going to be the most budget-friendly, highest value Cinewhoop that you can possibly make. Now, if you guys disagree, think that there's a better combination of parts for less than about $100 that can perform just as well as this, maybe even a better frame, let me know. I mean, yeah, you know, people are asking me, can you build this for $50? And I'm like, well, it's going to be really tough, and I'm pretty sure that's impossible. But if some of you guys say that's possible, let me know down in the description, because there's let me know down in the comments, because there are a lot of people that are asking me, I really want to build this for $50. I'm like, whoa, that's going to be pretty tough. So this is about the cheapest I think that you can probably build one of these. Obviously, if you're going to be doing cinewhooping, you're going to carry your GoPro. I'm not including that cost, of course. And the other pre-built ones come with GoPro either. So the reason I'm going to go kind of budget on this one here is I'm going to rely on the fact that I think something like ReelSteadyGO is going to really give you some good footage. And we'll compare this to, say, like I don't know what's the most expensive one I've got. It's probably the Chasers or the Bumblebee, and we'll see how that footage looks like compared to this. I bet you guys won't be able to tell the difference, because ReelSteadyGO is really, really good. Anyway, so these are the electronics here and the motors. You guys have seen this before. I'll link the Tyro 79 video down in the description. You guys check that out. I'm just going to go ahead and mount all this stuff, mount up the motors, and we'll take a look at what this looks like fully built. Okay, so here it is all put together, fairly straightforward. I put the flight controller and the ESC in the center here, and there's enough space to put the VTX on top as well if you want to do that. I elected to put it in the back here, and the wire that goes from the flight controller to the ESC was a little bit short, so I just zip tied it to the bottom here with a piece of foam because I wanted to use this circular polarized antenna that I'm going to be testing. I think the VTX comes with a whip antenna that'll just come out the back here if you want to do that way. You probably need an extender, or you can get I think it's a UFL to SMA adapter and then use a regular antenna back here if you want. It's pretty light, and let me see, the motor wire was the other thing that I need to extend a little bit here. It's hard to see, but just a little bit short, so I just put a little bit extra motor wire there to reach the ESC. That's because the way the arms are, the motor wire has to go through this little hole here in the duct and then around this way, so you need a little bit extra length. That was probably the only thing that was a bit annoying. If you're good at soldering stuff, soldering wires, it's not a big deal. It took a little extra time, but as you can see, it's pretty clean. It's a little dark there, it's hard to see. The ducts come off pretty easily. Just 3 screws here, 1, 2, 3, and they can pop that right off if you need to change your prop or take the motor off for whatever reason. Or you can fly without the ducts as well if you want to just fly it as a 3-inch. Obviously, you'll have this little piece here sticking out for the duct, but you could fly it as a 3-inch if you wanted to. But let's see how much this thing weighs. 235 grams without the battery. Yeah, so overall, pretty simple build actually. I like the fact that these ducts just screw on 3 screws. This frame is not as complicated as a lot of other Cinewhoop frames. If you get like a iFlight frame or one of the other frames from the other Cinewhoop manufacturers, if you want to do your own custom build, those frames are quite a bit more complicated, a lot more screws, and I think they're also a bit heavier. So we'll see how this thing flies. We'll go ahead and take it out to the field and let's see how it does. Okay, so just a sample here of some footage. It's actually from a Hero Session 5. However, I would recommend if you're using ReelSteadyGO, get the Hero 6 Black instead. It's going to be easier to mount. You're going to have to come up with a really soft mount solution for the Hero Session 5, and it's kind of complicated to talk about. I'll talk about that in another video if you guys really want to, but I would recommend going with either a Hero 6 Black or a Hero 8 Black if you're going to be using ReelSteadyGO. And of course, this footage here is stabilized in ReelSteadyGO. And I have not done any special tuning here. In fact, this is not particularly flying that great, but because the stabilization in ReelSteadyGO is so amazing, this very low-cost Cinewhoop seems to fly really well. The footage looks pretty decent for what you get in terms of a quad. And pretty much in terms of how it flies, it flies like any other Cinewhoop out there. The specs on this isn't all that different from a lot of other Cinewhoops out there, other than the fact that the motors are a little bit bigger. They're like 1607s, I believe. And so you get more efficiency. This actually has pretty good flight time. So if you're looking for a Cinewhoop with more flight time, even though this weighs a little bit more, this is not bad. But the frame weighs less than most of the other frames out there, so it's kind of you kind of break even there in terms of the overall weight. I don't think it's that much heavier, maybe about the same as a lot of the other Cinewhoops out there. But in terms of the flight characteristics and flight performance, it's really similar to a lot of the other Cinewhoops out there that are much more expensive, at least $100 more than this setup here. So, if you're going to be doing this sort of Cinewhoop type of footage, using a GoPro and ReelSteady, I'd say spend more money on the GoPro and save money on the Cinewhoop, and I think overall you'll be happy with the results. So that's my recommendation is, spend more money on the GoPro, and you don't need to spend as much money on the quad itself, and you'll find that you're going to get just as good of footage once you've stabilized it in ReelSteadyGO. Anyway guys, that's it for this video. Hope it was helpful. If you got any questions, let me know, and I'll talk to you guys in the next one.